We were freezing some kale the other day, and I figured I'd make a video for people that haven't done it before, to show them exactly what you have to do. And you can see our kale has started to go to seed there. It's bolting now from. We've had some hot weather and cold weather, and the hot weather actually causes it to bolt, and it also makes it turn to like a real bitter flavor and stuff too. Kale is best when grown in the cold. So my wife decided she wanted to throw some of it in the freezer to use this winter in her soup. So I went out and I harvested just enough to do a couple packages here. So all I'm doing, cutting it, cutting off the leaves, and you can see this is actually the most beautiful kale we've ever grown. For some reason, the conditions were just right, and we had a lot of cold weather and stuff, and no bugs or anything else. So, it's a good year to freeze some. So, there it is inside, and the first thing that you have to do is you have to wash it off good. Wife likes to look over each leaf to make sure there's no bugs or, any damage to them or anything. So, it just takes a little while to go through and wash it all. When I do videos like this, I usually see comments from people saying, "Oh, gee, you're washing things and using your hands. You don't have gloves on and stuff." Well, we never wear gloves. We wash our hands good before we start, and it's the same hands that we're going to eat the food with, so we don't really worry about it. And there it is. That stuff is just beautiful, the kale. And some hot rhubarb breads just came out of the oven. They're going down in the freezer for this winter also, and the wife's all set up over at the counter there to start cleaning up the kale. And these are the ones that we planted this year. This is the blue kale, and this is the blue curled scotch that we plant every year. The blue kale was something new that we tried this year. Usually we do the dinosaur kale. So this was different, and it actually turned out to be a much nicer growing product and better flavor. So my wife likes to cut all the splines out when she's going to freeze it and use it in soup. They can have, you can add the wrong texture and wrong flavor to it. So she goes through and cleans it all, and she does that on, both the leaf type and this curly type. So it does take a little while. You can't, really be in a hurry when you're going to do this. You have to put aside maybe 2 hours to, freeze up a batch. And there it is, all cleaned up. Then in a pretty good sized pot on the stove, you put about a half pot full of water, and actually you have to bring that up to a real hard boil, and you have everything else ready to go at that time. Now while the water is coming up to a boil, I like to go through and start making the bags up. We're only doing about 6 bags this time, so I figured we get 3 bags of each one, so I'm just going to cut 6 bags off the roll here, and then go back and seal up one end of them. And you can see that the little switch that starts the sealer seems to be going now too, because you really have to fiddle with the bag sometimes and push it in and out 10 times to get it to start up. And it does seem to go slower and slower between the seals. So this summer, definitely I'm looking for a good sealer that's faster, and actually, you don't have to wait between seals. I understand there are some out there that you can do 300 seals in a row without waiting, and they have a wider seal bar too that does a better job. So I'm going to be looking into that, because I'm just tired of, using this thing. So then what you have to do is you have to, when you blanch the kale, you have to actually put it into ice water. So I'm taking our largest stainless steel bowl, and I'm going to fill it halfway up with water and ice cubes. And you want to make sure that throughout all the batches that you do, you just keep adding ice cubes as they melt, because you really want this ice cold water to stop the cooking as fast as it can. So give that a couple minutes to chill down there now, and the water is just about up to a boil there. It's a good rolling boil. Then it's time to just throw a couple hands full in there and get started. She's going to break each of these down to 3 batches, and we'll get 3 bags. Each one will be about a bag full. So just get it all submerged there and throw the top on, and then start the timer for 2.5 minutes.
Echo. Set timer
And make sure that the flame is actually on high underneath it, so it comes up to a boil really quick. Yeah, we love these little Amazon devices, especially for the timers and stuff like that. They've just been a wonderful addition to the kitchen and smart home setup.
Stop timer.
So 2.5 minutes, time to take it out as quick as you can. And I'm trying to get her to move her hand and stuff, but I guess I gotta walk around the camera to try to get what shots I can. So there's the first batch out of the water and then into the ice water there. And now this actually just stops it from cooking. And probably, you know, I have people ask me all the time, do you have to blanch things before you freeze them? And my wife says, yes, you do with this. I don't know, maybe somebody does it without blanching or not, but as far as she's concerned, it has to be blanched to get the best product when you thaw it. So I'm going to say, you know, you have to go through this step. So there it is in the ice, and then it's time to just take it out and start to drain it. There's the first batch there. Now that's my turn to start playing with it. I squeeze a little bit to get some water out of it, and then I'm just gonna, we've got a couple of cookie sheets here. We're lined with cotton, pure cotton towels that are good for absorbing moisture. So what I'll do is I'll try to get as much moisture as I can out of it easily. I mean, you're not going to get it all out of it. It's kind of impossible. You'd really have to almost put it in a spinner or something to get it completely dry. But, you know, I'm going to use some towels and just keep patting it until I get a good deal of the moisture off of it. And here comes another batch out while I'm doing that. So, you know, it helps. If you have two people doing this, it really does help it just move along smoothly, and you don't have to slow down for anything.
I'm going to mix it up.
And then she's starting the third batch there. And, you know, here I am bagging the first batch, and then I'll start drying the next batch. And we find these plastic, you know, bags, the food saver type bags, are the best way to store this stuff. It actually does seem to stay the best. I've tried some of the cheaper ones off of Amazon, and for some reason they don't work as well. You get more freezer burn and stuff on them. So now it's time for me to get that batch out of there so that my wife can do the last one in there and while I dry this one out. I get that dried out and then get everything all bagged up, and you can see I did get 3 bags out of that batch, and time to go over and start sealing the bags up. And I like to use a pulse vacuum because there's a little bit of moisture in it, and if you pull too much vacuum, it'll get in the seal. And actually here I still got it in the seal anyway. And what happens with it, this seal is just not really wide enough or hot enough to seal good through that. So if you get moisture in it, you actually have to, you can see spots that aren't sealed perfectly. And there's that thing you got to wait between bags. And then you're best off to just go through and put it back in the machine and make sure that you do get a good seal. And for some reason this thing just seems to be getting slower and slower as it gets older. I don't know, maybe it's just me being in more of a hurry, but so that's, you know, that's definitely something on the list of my things to do this summer, is find a new, better, higher grade food sealer. Vacuum packer, I mean. So basically that's it. It's really fairly easy to freeze things like this, these greens and stuff like that. Kale and even you can freeze spinach and you can freeze Swiss chard and stuff like that too. With pretty much the same method, you just have to do different times for the blanching. So while I'm doing this, my wife is working on the curly kale now, and getting ready to start doing the drying that and actually bagging it up. And I'm just gonna mark what's in the bag on it. We do this with everything. You have to make sure you mark things properly with a date on them, and then we also keep a book down by the freezer to let us know exactly what's in it and pretty much what the date is. It helps you when you go down looking for something to know what's left in there. So back to drying the curly stuff and starting to bag it up just like I did the blue stuff. And pretty soon we're down to the last batch. So you can see it does take some time waiting and stuff like that, but it's really not a hard job to do. That kale is just so amazing looking when you cook it a little bit like that. So that's all blanched up, done, and divided into 3 more bags. And same thing, I'm going to go over and fight with this food saver thing to get these bags sealed up. And basically this is it. It's all done, and it'll be great. My wife really likes to just use it in a kale soup she makes in the winter. So if anybody has a vacuum sealer that they really like and it doesn't take forever like this thing, and it's got a wider seal, more reliable seal, and it's you don't have to wait between bags, just leave a comment so I can just kind of look into different options of what I'm going to get. So I'm just basically gonna let the rest of that kale out there just continue growing and going to seed, and then I'm gonna harvest the seeds for the next couple of years of kale, because the kale seeds all seeds are getting quite expensive. So stuff like this that doesn't cross pollinate, I'll save the seeds on and reuse in the future. And I'm just labeling these with the Sharpie again. The Sharpies do they work good, and they actually stay on through the freezing process. And it's unlike we tried masking tape one year with writing on that, and that just fell off halfway through the year. So we find Sharpies work the best for us. So another couple weeks I'll be harvesting the seeds, you can see there. And we really did have a great springtime kale, and I can't wait till the fall to plant it again and see exactly how good it is in the fall this year. So I just thought I'd sneak this video in case there's anybody interested in trying to freeze some kale this year. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.